Welcome to Lesson 5 of East Main 101. I am your facilitator, City of Jackson, Tennessee Communications Director Kenneth Cummings. And for today's lesson, we have I will say this, two of my favorite people who definitely work in recreation and parks, Whitney Dale and Christi Dale. Christi David and Whitney Billingsley. Welcome to East Main 101, Lesson 5, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
I'm excited to have you all on here. First of all, I'm wearing our City of Jackson merch. You can visit the link in the description at shopjacksontn.com. It's a cool little hat. We got a lot of merch on our on that website, and it's hosted by Visit Jackson TN. So we're here at Lesson 5. I'm going to read a quick bio for Christi and Whitney. Christi David was born and raised here in Jackson, Tennessee, and is a proud product of Jackson-Madison County School System's Southside High School.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. After graduating high school, she worked at Jackson-Madison County General Hospital and attended college, eventually earning both her bachelor's and master's degrees in social work from Union University. She worked in the field of trauma, serving many populations, including children, adults, families, justice-involved individuals, victims of all types of abuse, and those with various mental health concerns and substance use and abuse disorders. After getting married in 2019 to Mr. Brandon David, they made their home in Beach Bluff, Tennessee. They are the proud parents of 4 fur children, Dak and Zeke.
Whoop, whoop. Go Cowboys.
Oh my gosh. And they're mostly friendly felines in Yogi and Baloo. They're 100-pound shepherdors.
Yep.
Christi is now employed with the City of Jackson, where her initial role was Community Engagement Director for Recreation and Parks Department. And in December of 2022, she was promoted to Park Operations Manager and is a certified playground safety instructor and certified park and recreation professional. Whitney is also a native of Jackson, Tennessee, and she's a graduate of Jackson-Madison County School Systems as well, Jackson Central Mary High School.
Let's go Cougars.
Go Cougars. And Bethel University. She is the proud mother of 4 and wife of 10 years to the City of Jackson's youngest fire marshal, and we'll talk more about him, and we'll actually have him on later on for our 4th of July lesson. Whitney has been employed with the City of Jackson since 2006, and we're going to definitely talk about that later on. Beginning her career in the Parks Department as a front desk clerk, she navigated through other positions such as summer camp counselor, computer lab instructor, and activity guide coordinator before landing a position in the registration division for 10 years, and later serving as special events coordinator for Special Olympics Area 11. Whitney has now transitioned into Christi's former position as Community Engagement Director. The department has been a very intricate part of Whitney's professional and personal life. She is very active in her church, and she sings on a praise team, serves as financial secretary assistant and youth leader, and years past liturgical praise dancer. So you dancing.
Yep.
She dancing.
Yep. All the time.
Whitney enjoys traveling, spending time with her family and friends, and trying out restaurants. Her favorite quote is, "They who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength."
Amen.
Amen. Whitney,
What's
Christi,
What's up?
welcome to Lesson 5 of East Main 101. So y'all have this thing, y'all call each other the Dale sisters.
Yeah.
Whitney Dale and Christi Dale.
Yes.
It's funny hearing y'all say that. It's funny watching y'all work together. Y'all are like, I say, ebony and ivory. You know, it's cool seeing y'all work together as one in recreation and parks.
Thank you.
I'm just, again, excited to have you on. So, if I had just met both of y'all, I would have thought that y'all were cousins or sisters or
Sisters.
some kind of related to each other because of the way that you all work together. And I've watched both of you, and you create, to me, a different atmosphere in the Recreation and Parks Department. And to see you all work together, it's an amazing thing to see. So tell me, or tell us, what makes you all click? What makes y'all connect, and how y'all work together so well? Not all at once, but
You don't want to hear the Dale story at all, do you?
Yeah,
No,
of
you don't
course.
need-
Let's hear the Dale story.
Well, you can answer the first. You want to answer the first question? No.
Go ahead.
Well, you asked what make us click.
Mhm.
For one, we're kind of close in age, I think. Just some relatable things that we've had, and from day one, I was just excited to have somebody new. I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've been here since 2006, but when she came on, I was like, "Ooh, I got a friend," So I was just excited to have somebody here that I could talk to, and she was very open and welcoming. So I was just glad to have a friend.
So you didn't have any friends before that? I'm just playing. I'm playing.
Not
I
a
mean,
one.
work friends. You
Yeah.
can't really I had work aunties or
Work cousins.
So it was just a different atmosphere for me.
And Christi, coming on working with Whitney, again, we're going to talk about this. She's been on since 2006, so it's
Life.
most of her life. Coming on, working with her, what is it about Whitney that makes you call her sister?
Whitney's been on these ropes for a while, right? She knows where the bodies are buried, so to speak. And so it was important for me as a newcomer to the department, an outsider to the department, to find someone who I could connect with that could show me the ropes, that could tell me about the bodies, that could, just kind of help me find my way. And I was grateful that, she's a pretty okay person to hang out with. And
Changing my name from Dale.
just just really from the jump, we just kind of hit it off, and then I got to meet her kids, and I fell in love with them, and it's been a great time getting to know her, getting to know her heart, seeing her passion, seeing that passion grow, seeing her vision develop, the belief in herself, and what she can do, and what she brings to this team, and what she brings to this city. It's been really cool to be a part of that journey.
I ain't got no tissue. It's something I need to add to the studio.
Well, that's it's okay. It don't take much to make me cry.
It don't take much. So, and before we start recording, Christi, you were talking about a story about her daughter just coming in, and she's one of your new best friends.
Oh, that's my buddy.
Yeah.
Sweet girl just turned 7. And so for the last 3 years on her birthday, I've told her that she's not allowed to have a birthday, that she can't get older. But she's by far the smartest 7-year-old. And I was picking at her yesterday because we went to dinner, a couple weeks ago now, and she ordered a Caesar salad. And I was like, "You're the only 7-year-old I know
It's ordering a
that
Caesar salad.
orders a Caesar salad with water."
With water.
And so, but yeah, no, that's. Camille and I are two peas in a pod. Anytime she's at the office, she's in my office.
Yeah, in your lab.
Or sitting there watching her iPad. Let me do whatever. She's just, she's a joy.
How does that make you feel
I
to
love
have
it.
your sister Dale?
My sister Dale.
Sister Dale.
Because really for me, when people accept my children, it's already that's a plus, because my kids don't take to everybody, especially her. Yes, it takes her a while to warm up to you, but I think maybe day 1 or day 2, she was literally like, I like her. And yeah, she likes the sister thing too, because long story short, I just was proclaimed to be who I am by her. She literally thought I was just like Miss Christi, and I won't say that, but I'll say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But
she's 7.
She's 7.
So
So I can say it.
Yeah, say it.
So yeah,
It's
all these
conversation,
years,
yeah.
all up until her 7th birthday, probably she thought I was a white woman, and after her encounters with Miss Christi, she would, become more familiar of white mommy. Yeah, you are. And then I think you asked about her braids. Or was
Yesterday.
It was something about her braids. No, before. And you was like, can I get my hair braided like yours?
Yeah.
And then you were like, well, your mommy's hair is braided like that or whatever. She was like, yeah, because she's white. Like, or something. It was something along the lines of Christi could because we were both white women. So, anyway, yeah, I don't even.
I mean, you are a little lighter than most.
I mean, just a little bit.
So, again, just seeing you all, the Dale sisters. I mean, when y'all both at some point came up here and just started calling each other Whitney Dale, Christi Dale, it sticks and it flows. Yeah. Just like both of you all, working together. So, Christi, you are now the park. I always put an S on it, but it's not. There's no S. It's park operations. Yes. Even though we have multiple parks, you are the park operations manager. And it was when you got that role, it was the first one that I've ever heard of. As I got here in 2010. I didn't know if we had a park operations manager. And now that you have that, you talked about earlier your love for the city. You grew up here, and you talk in many of the events or public meetings we have. You always talk about how these are your playgrounds. South Jackson, born and raised. You played in these playgrounds, and you have a love for the city. Do you feel like this is one of the reasons that you take so much pride in your work, because you are a product of the grounds that you played on as a kid?
Absolutely. I think for me, I take pride in Jackson in general. Everything that the city's doing, the progress that they're making, the streets that get paved, I mean, everything I take pride in. When it comes to the park system, you've heard me say that Melissa's Park raised me.
Right.
And that's, my mom probably gets a little offended by that statement, but that's pretty true, especially during the spring and summer. We played ball there, so we were there almost every night, my brother and I. In the summer, the Recreation Parks Department used to have an outdoor rec summer camp, and that's where we went during the summer. My mom would drop us off at Melissa's, and they would have lunch for us. They came on little styrofoam trays that was wrapped, in saran wrap, and it had juice on it, and and they would do crafts, and we would do kickball, and we would have water days. And I mean, I just remember that's a core memory for me. It was before cell phones, and Melissa's actually used to have a payphone outside, pretty close to, it was in the parking lot next to the community center, where the community center is now. And Mom would start us off the week with a roll of quarters, and if anything happened, we were to, we could go up there and call. We actually did have to use those roll of quarters one time to make a call to her. My brother was playing baseball at the day camp and slid into second base. The base moved, and he caught his knee on the nail or whatever it was, and so he had to get some stitches, and so we actually had to use the payphone to call my mom that day. But yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in the work that we do, not just in our, not just the playgrounds that we're bringing, but as far as the grounds and the maintenance, and we've done a lot. We have a lot more to do, but my favorite thing to say is we're getting there. Yeah. We're getting there. We've got a plan, we've got a vision, and we're getting there.
And that vision, if you all are watching, it is on our website, parks.jackson10.gov. The master plan that you've worked on, I mean, it's amazing to see where we've come, where we're going. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but just the drawings, the renderings of the things that I've seen, Muse Park, just the ideas that we have. It brings chills just to see where we're going. And Whitney, 2006. I was sophomore in college and had no idea that I'd be working for anybody's city government. But you were already working for the city of Jackson. And when I got here, worked for the Jackson Sun, you've been in that role, or you've been with the department again since 2006. And how does it feel that now you are on the top floor of Public Works building with your own office? It's decorated to your liking from when you started in 2006, and you're also married to the fire marshal. Just tell your story of why you're still here and your love for the city and parks.
Wow,
Try not to cry.
So
if you cry, it's all right.
It's gonna happen. Don't worry about it. It's gonna happen. Before I get to me, I just wanted to jump back on to this one right here. You asked her about her passion. She talked a lot about social work because that's her background. I didn't know her then, but we've had public meetings and we talk about when I say this woman loves what she do.
Oh, I've seen that.
Loves what she do. Yeah. Anyway, she loves it. Like watery eyes, excitement, a kid on their first day of school or whatever. That's the passion that I saw in her that I've had since day one for me. So I just wanted to say that I love you for that, and that's what keeps me going as well. So she can't go nowhere. Anyway, so 2006 is when I started. I did 3 years part-time and started as a front desk clerk. But initially I just needed a job. So I didn't even know how I got there. I just know that was my path. I needed a job. Once I stepped in the doors and realized the potential of the department, I was like, wow, this is a lot. Like, there's so many avenues that you can take in this department. So, I'm still here because it has grown me. I've learned so much, like every single day. Yesterday, we learned about trees being on people's property, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun, but like
fun to learn about trees on people's
property. Yes, you never know. Like with this, you never know what you're gonna hear. You learn so much every single day. I can say the past almost 20 years have been amazing. It's been amazing.
And now you from part-time, then you started off part-time, right?
Yes, I did.
2006 to full-time as somebody who's seen even more as community engagement. Talk about how it, I think we'll get into this later, but how it's changed from 2006 to now. Your position. Just you working for parks, all the changes that you've seen.
Oh my goodness. So many changes. So, one thing that hasn't changed, Mr. Black has been here the whole time. So that hadn't changed. He's always been my boss. And just the direction and the vision that he had, he would also play a very strong role in all of our, I would say, movement. Because I remember coming in part-time, it was like, oh, okay, But when the full-time position came available, he was like, hey, you want to do it? I think you could do it. So he was always looking out and making sure, like, hey, if you want to do it, you can go try for it or whatever. So the people, I love the people. You brought up the playground day camp. I went to one. I went to all of them. But the one I went to was Douglas Court. And Miss Pee Wee, she was the one in charge of that. She did that for years. She made sure we had the lunches, the games, crafts. There was a pool at Douglas Court. You wouldn't know nothing about that. It was a wading pool. Do you remember that?
Where? I remember the one that was in Bemis.
Y'all had one in Bemis?
We had at Stella Duncan. There was a small kiddie pool there. Yep,
it was.
Now, where was Douglas?
Right where the school is, Washington Douglas.
Okay. Okay.
So Douglas Court had a playground. Oh, that was our park, and we had a pool. There was a pavilion, and we do lunches there, and crafts, and man. So it just brings me back to my childhood, and then working, and So yeah, you asked about.
So overall, think back. It's 1999, the late 1900s.
The 9 in it too.
The late,
The late
1900s.
And
The late
you are, I think
1900s.
we were seventh grade, 6th grade, 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And you've, like I said, I got here in 2010. I can talk about Memphis and what's changed. But in the Department of Recreation and Parks and the connections that we have now with our community and all the new upgrades, and we'll get into that later. Think back to 1999 and to now, the seats that you're in. What drives you to want to continue this work in recreation and parks? Again, it's one of the most, it's probably the most important public-facing department, I would say, because you're dealing with the public all the time, because it's our parks. You're dealing with people who live here. You're dealing with people who visit. They want to know what kind of parks we have. It's 1999, 25 years later, where you are now. Just kind of talk about how that feels for you to see the changes in the department.
So, for one, I'm in City Hall, right? Never seen this many people in City Hall. We kind of,
And Christi, feel free to jump in.
yeah, because I'm like, now I'm having to like go back to a lot of things that weren't allowed, and I don't even know if I'm
ready for that.
prepared to discuss that.
Christi, 1999.
Yep. 13-year-old Christi.
13-year-old Christi. Did 13-year-old Christi ever picture herself working as the park operations manager?
No.
And did
No.
13, 14-year-old
No.
Whitney see herself?
I was a dancer.
That's right. And if you ask my school bus driver at that time, I was destined to be one of the next Spice Girls.
Yeah. See,
no
you
doubt.
see the connection? You see the connection?
No doubt.
Love dancing, love life. Oh, this girl can dance too. Sorry, y'all.
That's a different podcast.
Sorry.
But no, 13-year-old Christi, to where we are today, let me just say, I think that at that day and time, Recreation and Parks was an outside, throw the ball, play on the playgrounds view.
Yeah.
The world that we live in today, and y'all hear this all the time, but it's not the same world we lived in then.
Absolutely.
It's not the same world that we lived in 2019, in December of 2018.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the same world, and thankfully, Recreation and Parks has taken that on nationally, and we are more than just get outside and throw the ball. We provide programming that addresses things like mental illness. We provide programming for the aging population. We provide parents a safe space for their kids to come to during the summer and after school so that they can continue working. And so the world of Recreation and Parks, what it was then versus what it was today, is evolved. It's completely different.
That's the word.
And I will say, and every time I say this, Whitney says you're not a social worker anymore. But as a social worker, one of the questions that I've been asked many times is, how did you go from social work to recreation and parks? Because to them, they see it as two different sides of the spectrum. For me, I see the overlap. I see it in social work. We have these terms: micro, macro, meso. So micro is one-on-one. Macro is like group settings, but meso is like community. And it's like when you're working in meso social work, you're like doing policy and community activism and those kind of things. And I feel like Recreation and Parks allows me to do meso social work. because I'm able to help provide generational change.
Yeah.
I'm able to be a part of the solution. One of the things that in preparing to take the Certified Recreation and Park Professional exam,
That's a lot of acronyms.
Yep, yep. I have a lot now.
You got a lot of acronyms.
She does.
I have MSW, CPSI, CPRP. None of those amount to anything if you don't have action behind them. And that's where that's why the social work is still important, and that's how I find the overlap between it all. It's there. It's a matter of fact, June 14th, I'm going to be presenting to Union University's School of Social Work Masterclass, their continuing education program on the intersection of parks and social work. I think that this is an avenue for many people to jump into. And so the social work and the parks world of 1999 versus 2024 is different, and it's evolved, and it's growing, and it's accepting, and it's recognizing the needs, and it's being the solution.
Yeah.
So the study guide, that was one of the sentences in there that stuck out to me, and Whitney and and why I'm motioning toward hers because we studied together. The whole book. But there's a sentence in the very beginning that says that recreation parks should be viewed as an essential service.
And it is.
We should be viewed as a community solution. And Whitney and I are excited about, we've had so many conversations about things that we want to do and things that we want to see and where we want to go and how we're going to impact this community together with, with becoming that, with our Recreation and Parks Department becoming the solution. And what that looks like.
That's good.
I know.
That's good. As my mother-in-law would say, that preaches.
Ooh, that'll preach.
That'll preach.
Yes.
I mean, you touched on a lot. It's, I mean, when you go out to a park, it's a social setting. So it is social work. I mean, you're working to make sure that the social setting is not only there, but it's safe, it's clean, it's where everybody would want to go, no matter what. Black, white, young, old, anybody can go to our parks. And we're going to get into this, the inclusiveness of how our parks are now. So we're going to talk about the upgrades. You both work closely together. And again, as the Dale sisters, you both do such a great job with what you do as community engagement and park operations manager. One day I'm going to remember, don't put the S, because I think I've put in a few press releases with the S on it, but it's park operation. Whitney, your role is vital to the quality of life because you're out a lot and you're kind of a person that a lot of people will see as community engagement. So you get the word out. So what has been your favorite part of being in this role as community engagement?
My favorite part, I've learned so much. Even starting in 2006 and doing registration for 10 years, it was still a lot that I didn't know. But as I've been community engagement, I've learned about, like I said, trees on the, like, random stuff that nobody else in a different area would even think of. But it has expanded my knowledge on so many levels. I think this role was kind of called to me before I did the activity guide. And so I would get all the programming, not knowing why they were taking place, but I would get all the programs, get all the hours for the centers and everything else that was going on. And I would literally just put them together and make it look cute and make sure that the public got it. At that time, I didn't know I was pretty much doing the same thing what I'm doing now, but it was getting the information to the people. People are always talking about, what is there to do in Jackson? There's nothing going on. Okay, where are you getting your information from first? So I had the opportunity to even then present to the people of all the great things we've had going on. It didn't just start now. When Miss Sandy McDermott was here, she had so much programming that I don't know when the lady had time to sleep. But it was Cypress Grove, movies in the park. We still do that to this day. There were Mommy and Me, Daddy and Me. Like, we had so many programs. I could have brought the activity guide from the 80s that they've continued to do. Now, we stopped it during COVID because, of course, we weren't printing and people didn't want to be in each other's face, but
they wanted to be in the parks.
They wanted to be in the parks.
That's the one thing that, statewide we have learned that even during COVID, people wanted to be in the parks. It actually renewed people's desire to be outside. And
I'm one of them.
It was safe
I want to be outside. Yeah.
I want to be outside.
I was at a conference last week, an outdoor rec conference, and one of the things that they talked about was the explosion of RV sales, which is something I hadn't even thought about. But during COVID, that people actually went on a wait list for RVs because it was the only thing that they could get out and do. And they could go with their family unit and be in a vehicle and travel and still feel like they wasn't isolated from the world.
And so, Whitney, with you as community engagement, now with social media, the word, I often tell people that you're the me for recreation parks. But you handle it. Oh my gosh, you handle it so well with recreation parks.
Thank you.
I mean, of course, Christi, you started off with it. Before you got on, I was kind of handling a little bit, but when you came on, I was just so happy to have you as community engagement. Now, Whitney having it, the word gets out. Even though we posted to the city's page, but the pools, we opened up pools on January 3rd. We made a post about it. June 3rd, not January. Gosh, it's cold there.
Be cold.
So in June, we made a post about it, just a couple hours ago, and over 130 shares posted to the city and the parks page. So you had talked about earlier where people getting their information from. We had the activity guides, but now with social media, a lot more people have access to that. Absolutely. They don't have to wait to get something printed. They just go online and see all that. So
go online, and then the new thing that you guys started and allowed us to be a part of the text alerts. Like we've seen numbers increase, and people are excited about receiving a text message of, hey, you're telling me what's going on before maybe other people know. But how are you getting your information? So whether it's our Facebook page, I mean, when I say community, what's the community calendar, whatever platform that I can find that's hopefully free.
I've seen the whiteboard.
I'm putting I'm putting it out there.
I'll tell you another way that Whitney and I have discovered that people are getting information, and this is for our aging population. They started a workout class they started at Northside Lions Club when they initially started it. And Miss Marie Law, I hope she don't mind me saying her name on this, but she had a list of people who used to do silver sneakers at, I think it was at Gold's Gym years ago, and had their phone numbers. And she made copies of that and handed them out. And that group, they called. It was a word of mouth. They called
to see what was going on.
They are averaging 75 people a class.
Wow.
And so, back to Whitney's point, like, it's important for us to know how are you getting your information. So the City of Jackson Recreation Park still has a phone line that you can call, and you can find out if your soccer games have been canceled today, or that we still offer that service. So we're not fully digital. We still offer any way that and if there's a way that we don't know,
Tell us.
I've learned going through this master plan process that sending out postcards to neighborhoods that are going to be impacted by the plans that we're doing. That's not something that I'd even thought about.
Right.
Even back in the day, which we still have them. Back in my day, and we still have them in the parks, the bulletin boards. People are still looking at those.
Yep.
So parks, they're still important.
Yes.
Just being there to get the information.
Absolutely.
And this is just another way, this podcast, but following you all on social media or calling that number
Mm-hmm.
about people are still getting information that way from back in the day. But now we're able to reach those in this generation who are they just have their phones.
Yep.
And they can sign up for the text alert, and whatever time it ends, they get a text from the city of Jackson saying, hey, pools are opening.
Yep.
Or pools are open on June 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Christi, so I might be off by like a few cents, but you brought in like, I would say at least over $100,000 in grants, probably a little more than that. Just talk about, as your role as Parker, you've brought so much in. You've looked for grant opportunities to where we don't necessarily have to spend everything, but you look for opportunities to where we can improve our parks. I mean, I just think back to the slide that was a 2-foot drop off from the edge of the slide. You took your class to become a certified playground inspector, CPSI, certified. Yeah, that's one of your acronyms.
Mm-hmm.
And we needed that. And you came in, you hit the ground running, and you made changes. I've seen the new playgrounds. Talk about some of the accomplishments in grants and new playgrounds that we've gotten here in the city since you started.
So, Whitney, I can't even look at her when I say this. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch our dollar.
Okay.
I'm going to stretch that dollar as far as I can. And then if you have a dollar that you want to give me, I'm going to come get that dollar. And then I'm going to stretch that dollar as far as I can.
She spends the city money like she would spend hers. She budgets. She's very, very specific.
I like that word.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Yeah, intentional is what I try to be.
Yeah.
I try to be intentional with everything that we do. And so it's been about 1.5 million
Oh, I was way off.
that we can publicly announce
Okay.
we've been awarded. We are currently going after another almost 500,000 in grants. So that whole initiative, the whole grant initiative, started when TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, sent out this grant cycle opening up no max.
You say no max?
No maximum. And I remember when this happened, it was December of 2022. So I just came the park operations manager.
Mm-hmm.
We were having the Christmas luncheon at the fairgrounds. I had my laptop, and I was creating a project list. Like in between us doing what we were doing, I was creating a project list because there's no max. And I was just going through and like park by park, what do we need at this park? What do we need at this park? And I remember, asking the mayor, like, is there anything specific you want me to look at? And he's like, look at it all. And so I came up with this list. It was 11 different project sites. And included in that was a new park. And I am now known in TDEC as the girl who submitted 11 projects.
So is that something that they've never seen before?
Nope, never seen it.
3 is probably the max, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean,
3.
when they say
When they
here's
said
an
no
open
max,
pot,
I was
go
like,
for it.
let's go,
Go big or go home.
And so, as most people that have cared enough to be involved in this process have heard by now, but TDEC came back and said, we're going to limit you to 5.
So you're the reason why they cap it at 5.
And now they cap it at 3.
Wow. But that's good. I
now
mean,
they cap it at 3
to have
project
somebody on staff for a city who cares that much to be like, oh, you're gonna open. I'm gonna give you all these parks. To have somebody like that, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I'm gonna stretch a dollar, right? So this is a 50-50 match. When I started that process, 11 projects, the match for the city, before including ARPA funds, I want to say we were like at $4 million. Like I was doing, it was like an $8 million ask. And I remember going to Tony and saying, you think council's going to agree to a $4 million match? And he was like, it's all in how you present it, you know, and they did, you know, and that was, you know, I'm not throwing my TDEC buddies in under the bus here, but they really put us in a pickle because we had presented these 11 projects. So when they came back and said, we're going to limit you to 5, Tony and I immediately went to the mayor's office and said, this is what they're saying. What are we going to do? Because these people, you know, the public is expecting 11 projects, right? And so together we whittled the 11 down to 5, and the other 6, we worked out a plan for them to go into capital, into our 5-year capital plan.
Yeah.
And we've stuck to that. The public saw that happen last July. We put in 3 new playgrounds. Those 3 playgrounds were a part of the 11 initial projects.
Okay.
And so we moved them into capital, and then we kept our word, and council thankfully approved that budget. And so, and the cool thing about that is we were awarded the grant for the 5 projects, but we haven't been able to break ground on those yet. So had we had all 11 projects, we would still be waiting on 3 new playgrounds, right? So we were able to move that whole initiative forward. We were able to get those playgrounds during a time where we've received 100% match on them. So
I like to hear that.
So instead
you got a bell or something, you got to ding, 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 ding.
So instead of getting $90,000 worth of playground equipment, we got $180,000 worth of playground equipment. You know, instead
and
of
this is quality. I've seen these. I've slid down some of these slides. I know some of those swings. This is quality, long-lasting playground equipment.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the lifespan of your playgrounds is between 22 and 25 years if you take good care of them.
Right.
And you know, we as a city, and I'm not saying anything that no one doesn't know or hadn't heard said before, but we were living in a cycle of deferred maintenance. And that is why we had 11 projects that we turned in, right? Because all of our playgrounds at the same time needed to be redone.
Yeah.
We are now creating a cycle to where we won't be in that position again. When the life cycle of Melissa's comes up, it won't also be the life cycle
Of another part.
of North Park,
Okay.
right?
I see what you
They'll be staggered. And so yes, we've got those projects coming with the TDEC grant. Those are in design phase. Cool fact, they're calling them the Jackson 5. Our A&E architect and engineering firm that's working on that. The project is titled the Jackson 5. And so we're in design phase for that. That's going to be resurfacing Shirley Mercer, putting a restroom at Shirley Mercer, putting a restroom at Stella Duncan and Bemis, putting a new park on Windy City Road.
That's the northwest corner of the city?
Northwest corner of the city.
Because there hasn't been a park. There is no park.
Correct. So when we annexed that area in 2016, 2017, that was a part of the agreement.
Okay.
That we would put a city park there. But up until now, that hasn't happened. So that's in this plan. Restrooms at the new park, pavilion, walking trail, playground.
And these are all important things. Restrooms, walking trails, pavilions. These are all important things to parks. So if you want to go to a park and there is no restroom, you got to go somewhere. So you have to get back in your car, go home, or do what you hope nobody would do and out there in the park. So these quality upgrades to these parks, again, it's a really good thing to have. And again, having someone like you to see that need of 11, and even though they narrowed it down to 5, we still got
Absolutely
new playgrounds.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're really, really nice. Like, I want to go back to 1999, but I mean, I can get on the swing. I might not be able to go through the entire one, but I can get on the swing and enjoy it. And with my new baby on the way,
That's right.
we can go
enjoy the expression swing.
Expression
Paradise.
swings. That's one of the things I want to bring up at Paradise Park. Expression swings. It's at Paradise and it's at
And
Melissa's. talk about bringing those in. Both of you can talk about it. Just as someone with kids and somebody who brought it in, talk about the importance of having the inclusivity in the parks, especially in today's time.
So with the expression swings, and I had to go back to the social work part of me, right? But it's important when a child is moving through their stages of development. One of the most important stages is trust versus mistrust. How the expression swings help that is that child is literally across from their caregiver, and they're building trust, right? I'm swinging, I'm moving, but you're here and I'm safe. I can see you, you're not leaving me, I'm safe. On the other side of that, the parent is also getting to, or the caregiver is also getting to see the joy that this is bringing. So that's a twofold, that's a twofold piece of that puzzle.
Yeah.
And what I was going to add to that, Camille is 7, and we went to the park yesterday, and she was like, "Mommy, why didn't they have this?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, babe." And she was like, "Can I still get in it?" No. We were not going to get in it.
2 to 3 year olds.
That's what I showed her on the back. It's made for 2 to 3 year olds. But she was excited to see that, and she thought it was so sweet. And she was like, "That is so sweet that a mommy and their baby can swing together." Or
now, is that something that they do make for 7-year-olds? Expression swings? I mean, or
no,
just the normal
seesaw.
size?
At that age, you want a seesaw.
Okay.
That is, I think that they do have some that are more accessible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's another push that we have. And I'll be the first to say that I did not do my due diligence in fully in planning the things that we've brought. When you hear when somebody says it's accessible, that just means you can get to it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
So going to that,
Yeah.
we have 2, and the mayor, he had this idea because he went to a park in another city and saw wheelchair swings, and now we have 2 of them that we've never had in the city. Now, everybody can, or those who are in wheelchairs who aren't able to, who probably have never been on a swing before in their life, they can get on these 2. And I remember the first one that we opened, just the joy on the young lady's face who's never been on a swing, got to enjoy this accessible and inclusive piece of equipment in our parks. One in North Park and one in Melissa's, and we got some, I think, on the way.
Yeah, we have 2 more.
2 more coming.
And those will go in at Conger and Centennial. What we're waiting on before we install them is to make sure that there is an ADA accessible pathway to them. We're making a big push to make all of our parks accessible.
So there's accessible, then there's more specifically ADA, because I can access. I can access. I can get to a swing.
Right.
But those who are under that ADA, they can't get to that swing like I can. So we're, like you said, making a push to make all of our parks ADA accessible, so that those who can walk and those who aren't able to can get to those swings as well.
Right.
Or
and
to the parks. Or
those who have limited mobility, thinking about grandparents that are raising their grandchildren now, making sure that our spaces make it easier on everyone, and then to get to them, to access them. The next piece that we're going to be pushing more is not that you can just get to it, but that you can enjoy it.
That's the key part.
Yeah, that's a piece that I missed. I one thing I will say, I'm not afraid to say where my missteps are, and take accountability. And that's one thing that I wish I had been more intentional about.
Let me stop her, because we worked on it and we were looking through catalog after catalog after website. We actually went to conferences and looked at different. So it's like after you order something, you're like, oh shoot, I should have. Yeah, you know. So this is new. You know what I mean? She's new as park operations, so give yourself a little grace. You know, with I ain't gonna say little or no guidance, but you did this. She did her research and she did the best that she could with what she knew. And I didn't know nothing either. So
me either.
I'm like,
I thought the slide it
was fine. Yeah,
but we 2 feet off the ground.
And we're like, what's wrong?
What's wrong with it?
Jump the rest of the way off and be fine. But she's like, no, that's not right.
That's not right. We got to fix this.
Some grace. You did very well.
So we've seen the improvements. I mean, again, I got here in 2010. You wouldn't catch me at North Park. Was probably the only park you would catch me at because it was nice. I guess the newest
newer
one.
Park, yeah.
And now I'll go to Paradise. You know, I'll go to North Park. It was probably maybe a year ago. I took my lunch at Conger and just got on the swing, just because it's because it's new, because we're taking care of it. It feels like a place that I can go and just enjoy. As a person who was born in the late 1900s, I can still enjoy these parks that are, you know, upgraded and new and feel safe. And, you know, from the camera equipment that we have to make it safe to, you know, just making sure the maintenance is not deferred. It's you as park operation manager, you can go and say, hey, we need to pressure wash this playground. Let's get it done. We need to clear the leaves off this playground. Let's get it done. We getting it done right then at that point. So, yeah, like you said.
And I have to say, you know, that's not just me, right? That's, it's a whole team effort.
Yeah. Not just parks. It's just a whole city organization.
Right.
From maintenance to streets to making sure. I mean, you have to be able to get there. You want to see that the grounds are good to our groundskeeping department. You want to make sure that we're up to date on equipment. You want to make sure that everything is safe. The cameras are safe. Police department making sure everything.
Every department, even down to purchasing. And I have to give a shout out to Zach and Montreal and Jamela, because I mean, without them and their guidance, we wouldn't have gotten the best product at the best price like we did.
And he talked about that in lesson 4 of Eastman 101, not just the lowest, but the best.
Right.
What benefits the city? What's the best for the city? And the, as he put it, the best interest of the city. So he was able to find not just the lowest, but the best product that we could find. So it's a team effort.
Yeah,
I love seeing that. And so we talk about how I know y'all probably heard this before. There's nothing to do in the city of Jackson. Clearly, and for the record, there's a lot to do. And not just with parks. There's a lot of things to do, from downtown to just going around the city itself. It's just there's stuff to do. And with recreation and parks, for those who live here and those who are visiting, Whitney, how can I, let's say I want to rent a facility or go to a facility. What is my process? What do I need to do to either rent a park? Can I rent a park? What do I need to do?
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because we've had several people reach out that wanted to have events in the park, whether it was a family reunion, a car show, anything of that nature. For our parks, they're usually a first come, first serve. There's not a charge, but we do ask that you get a permit. You can reach out to our department, call Miss Cynthia, and she'll walk you through that process. But that's as simple as that. Renting our facilities, we have 8 facilities, but it's a simple call. It's online. You can rent our facilities. We're not telling people like stay away. We have some of the biggest events in our facilities, Dancing with the Stars and the pageants,
and these facilities include like Civic Center.
We've got Civic Center,
Fairgrounds,
Farmers
Market, Westwood,
South Jackson, TR White. TR White is probably one of the biggest that we have, the downstairs basement. And They're reasonable. Most of them are reasonable.
And Tara White's just going through an upgrade. I mean, just
Yeah.
from the building, the facade,
Yes.
to the parking
The
lot.
parking lot.
And the playground, of
I
course, Paradise
know.
Park. Just,
I
you know, in the 5 years that we've been up here, that I've been up here, I've seen the change. I
Mhm.
mean, in the just 14 years that I've lived here, I've seen the change.
Mhm.
And for you all, you've been here all your life. I know you've seen the change.
Absolutely.
And just to be a part of it. I guess back to the beginning,
Yeah.
how does that, to be a part, to have your hand in the change of the city that you are born and raised, the playgrounds that you played on, how does that make you feel to have your hand in the playground, in the sandbox of the change of Jackson? How does that make y'all feel? I mean, in one word, if you have one word, is there one word?
I don't know. There's one word, but for me, as a mom, I've been a mom for a long time, but it's just like watching your child grow, right?
Mhm.
Like you remember them from a small, just tiny little seed or
Mhm.
whatever, and seeing it grow, it's like it's glorious.
I think
It's
for
beautiful.
me, one thing that y'all have heard me say, and I don't just talk to talk. So when I say it, I mean it.
Right.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to give back to the community that gave to me. You know, so many people here, people that I graduated with, I can't wait to get out of Jackson.
Yeah.
I was one of them, right? Like, I cringe when I see some of my Facebook memories pop up about where I was going to go and who I was going to be and the life I was going to have. I can't imagine being anywhere else. I cannot imagine having the opportunity. It wouldn't be the same somewhere else
Right.
because of the 1999 Christi, the view that she has. I mean, if I was to go somewhere else, I wouldn't have that, right? I wouldn't have the history. I wouldn't have the buy-in. I wouldn't have the pride. I wouldn't have the people down the street who knew me and saw me and, you know, raised me with their kids at the park, calling me and saying, when are we getting pickleball courts in South Jackson? You know, and so that makes it, it just makes it more special. So I'm blessed that I've been able to be a part of the community, giving back to it. And I hope that what I'm giving back, someone else that's experiencing it as a 14-year-old, as a 8 to 14-year-old, that when they are 37,
So
they will have that same.
you want them to
feeling.
have that 1999 moment
Yeah,
for
Okay.
them,
yeah,
like you have the 1990 moment
Yeah.
for you.
yeah. I
love
want
it.
that. Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. And, you know, for me, you know, marrying into the city and having our first.
You married up, huh?
I'm married up. I'm looking forward to taking our child to a park.
Yeah.
It don't matter which park. I want to take her there and just enjoy it. I love the outdoors. I love being at parks. I love swinging. I love sliding. I mean, in elementary school, when recess came around, we all raced to the swings. Like, that was, if you didn't get a swing, you just weren't cool.
You didn't do the monkey bar?
We did the monkey bars, but like the swing was
That was
everybody
most
wanted to
popular.
get to the swing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to taking our child, whether while she's in the stroller and when she grows up, I'm looking forward to taking our child to one of our City of Jackson parks and facilities, just so she can have her, you know, when she gets to that age, I want her to have her 1999 moment when
Yeah.
she gets 38, 39. So it's been amazing to see both of you in your roles, and we're gonna have y'all on. I've got ideas for more things with parks. We might have y'all on every quarter just to talk about what's going on. I'm looking forward to that because, again, I see what's happening. I see the changes. I see the positive things that are going on in that department. It's great to see. Thank y'all for coming on. But before we go, we've got a pop quiz, and this pop quiz session is not necessarily a pop quiz. It's just getting to know you more. 3 quick questions about you and what y'all do. So, pop quiz time. Question number 1. Again, think back as a kid on the playground here in Jackson. South Jackson, East Jackson.
East Jackson.
Where were you? Which part of Jackson? Yeah, I knew.
I grew up
So,
on East Chester. I did.
East Jackson. So she East Jackson
proud of
girl. East Jackson, South Jackson. Think back to your time going to these playgrounds. What was your favorite piece of equipment on the playground, Christy?
So at Melissa's, and we just pulled this up last March. It was like a egg, right? It was like the top half of an egg, and it was all these bars that were connected, and you could hang upside down inside of it, or crawl through it, or climb on top of it.
Yeah,
The Jungle Gym.
That was by far my favorite piece of equipment at Melissa's. And there's actually a picture of Whitney and I on the new piece of equipment that took the place of that one at Melissa's.
Super cool.
But that was at Melissa's Park, by far. That's where you would find me.
Yeah.
Okay, Whitney.
So mine was merry-go-round, and to this day, I don't even like to go to the carnival. But as a kid, that was my favorite thing to do. Just
Is this the one that you stand
round
on?
and
Just
round
going?
and round.
Which park did you?
Douglas Court.
Douglas Court.
That was the old metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably would have hurt yourself.
You don't
but-
see those
You don't
anymore.
see those anymore. I was back when Mom would be like, "Oh, you all right? Walk it
Yeah.
off."
Yeah. Walk it off.
Those were those. All right. So number 2. All right. Both of your husbands have major roles in the city. Fire Marshal Billingsley and the airport deputy director, Mr. Brandon David. So, as wives, what is your favorite pet name to call them?
That's
Whitney,
easy.
you first.
Oh,
She said, so our pet name I guess for me to him is my honey. Yeah, it was when I thought he was sweet, but he ain't sweet. He ain't real sweet. No, I'm just kidding. But
like a Sour Patch Kid.
he's pretty much,
Don't
yeah.
talk about
Sour
Trail
Patch.
like that.
I love him.
Talk
though.
about our fire marshal
Yeah,
like
I mean, because he got to be firm in that position.
That's
you can't
true.
be firm. You
Like-
can't be soft in that role. So, yeah. He's my honey. He's sweet to me.
that. Christy?
Boo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I knew
That's
that.
her boo.
that's Boo.
They answer the phone like, "Hey, boo."
Yeah. Sometimes it's it's Boo Hairs or Boo Dale or it's always
Boo.
or it could be birthday Boo, like on birthday it's birthday Boo.
Boo is somewhere in there.
Boo is
gonna
it's
be
Boo.
something.
I hear
Yeah.
that. All right. Number 3. If there was one important thing you'd want all of our residents to know about parks and recreation, what would it be? It can be advice, it can just
Yeah.
anything.
I would say we're trying. Facebook, while it's a blessing, it can also be a curse. And I would challenge them, challenge the community to get involved. Find out what we're doing. And if you want us to do something else or you have an idea, let us know. Because, we're open. We're open. We're listening. We can't make promises. And we're not going to make you a promise. But
We're listening.
and if it fits and we can plug it in and it makes sense and we can find the funds, we'll do it. But give us some grace. Know that we're trying. Know that we're out there. We're behind the scenes. We are
We're everywhere.
we are working daily to provide a park system that the community can be proud of.
Love it. Whitney.
Yeah. I don't even. What was the question again?
What is one important thing that you would want our
One.
residents
That's
to know
one.
About the Recreation and Parks Department? And it can be from your perspective as community engagement.
I had something before when I was so caught up in what she was saying. That recreation in parks is not just playgrounds and I forgot the word, but it's not just playgrounds. So we want to make sure that you're living a good lifestyle. So we provide education, we provide programming, so many other things than just going to the playground. So that would be it. Just check us out at the parks, check us out in our facilities. We're doing everything we can to make sure that everybody that's living here is enjoying and learning and growing together.
It's a quality of life thing.
Quality of life.
Quality of life. Whitney Dale, Christi Dale, Lesson 5. Thank you both for coming on. Again, we'll have you on more later on throughout the year to talk about things that are going on in recreation and parks. Again, I've seen the work, and it's an amazing thing to see. I mean, we're only going up. I mean, we haven't plateaued at all. It's a small slope, but it's a slope, and it's going up in the right direction. And everything that you all are doing over at recreation parks and recreation, however you want to call it, the park side, the playgrounds, the facilities, the activities, the events. We've got summer camp going on. We're involved, and it's an amazing thing to see. So thank you both for coming on to Lesson 5 of East Main 101. And before we go, we do have homework. And your homework for this lesson is visit one of our parks. You can visit our website, parks.jacksontn.gov, and you can click the link that shows all of the different parks here in the city of Jackson. Visit one of our parks, go walk, go play, go run, enjoy, just time with your family or with yourself, and just take a selfie, post it, share it to us on our social media pages, and just let us know how you think our parks are doing, and just visit one of our facilities. Just call Recreation and Parks Department, see what's going on. It's summertime, pools are open. We look forward to seeing you all enjoying our parks here in the city of Jackson. So that'll do it for East Main 101, Lesson 5 with Christi and Whitney, the Dale sisters. That's what we like to call them here. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media pages. Subscribe, like, share, watch our videos. Thank you all for joining us, and be sure again to subscribe to East Main 101. Visit our website at eastmain101.jacksontn.gov. And until next week, class dismissed.